Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Brian.
And we're the WVGamers. So today we are reviewing the Pyramid of Khufu. And if you're all familiar with the CW show Legends of Tomorrow, in Season 1, Hawkman, his original name back many years ago during his first life was actually Khufu.
I wonder if this is his pyramid.
It could be. So in this game, you are trying to compete against your opponent to build the best pyramid possible to prepare for your afterlife. You're going to be playing cards of sacred items that you would like to get blessed by the gods. And based upon the items that you place in your pyramid, as well as the blessings from the god, give you points. And whoever at the end of the game gets the most points after completing their pyramid and putting the little capstone on top wins the game. So, in this game, you are setting up a pyramid, and you are going to be building based on an actual pyramid. And in that, you'll start with the subterranean levels. In the subterranean levels, you're going to be building 4 sacred items in the subterranean level. Then, once you complete that level, you will go into the Queen's Chamber. In the Queen's Chamber, you will build 3 sacred items. And then advance into the King's Chamber, where you will put 2 sacred items. Once you complete all levels, as well as a blessing to each sacred item, you will place your capstone on top. And that triggers the end game. You do that by taking turns over the course of the game. When you set up the game, you will have a market of 5 items. Got some good stuff out there right now.
Yeah.
Your market is here, and you'll have 5 items, and then you'll have like a draw stack. On your turn, during the first phase of your turn, right? The market phase, yeah. Mm-hmm. You will select an item from the market. So I'll take the capstone. That will leave an empty space. This will come into my hand of 7 cards. Now I have to decide on a card to discard. And I'm going to discard this sarcophagus. So now, that ends the first phase of your turn.
And then the second phase, as dictated by this little handy-dandy reference, is the building phase. In this phase, you'll have 3 actions that you may perform, starting with the first. Placing and tucking sacred items. So, as we said, there are the different sacred items. If you don't have a certain type of item out there, you can place it out as a new spot in your pyramid, following the rules that she mentioned earlier about the different layers. But if you happen to have another copy of an item, you can actually tuck it underneath, making that stack more valuable. The next thing you can do is tuck your gods under your items to bless them. Each stack of items can have 2 gods under them. They'll be stacked underneath, or tucked underneath just like that. And this is what it'll look like when you have blessings from 2 gods. You can also play these gods against another player stack, because not all the gods are helpful. Some of the gods are actually negative points. So that's a good strategy of figuring out which ones to play on yourself and which to play on the other player. The next is building a robber's tunnel. The robber's tunnel is a card that you'll place in front of your opponent and basically gives you access to their pyramid. That will allow you to go over and steal stuff from them utilizing the 2 stealing cards. The first steal card is Steal from Hand. This will have a little indicator on it telling you how many cards you may steal. So this one will allow you to steal 1 card from another player's hand at random.
And the artwork on it is like a mummy is reaching for it.
And then there's also one that has 2. Now, stealing from the pyramid's a little different. In this one, it's not guaranteed that you'll be able to steal anything, and what you're going to do is steal one of the face-up items in the other player's pyramid based on whatever is rolled on this little wooden die, which range from 0, 1, and 2. Optionally, you can choose at the beginning of the game how you want to handle the stealing of this card. You can agree to steal the card and place it into your own hand, or you can agree to steal and add it immediately to your pyramid. Again, that's just something that all players can agree to based on what we discussed with the designer of the game. The next one is the search card. The search card simply allows you to search through the discarded cards and take one of the cards from the discard pile and add it to your hand. There are 3 special tokens that you can also utilize in the game. There is a search, and the reason search is important is you may not look at the gods that are in your under any of your sacred items at any point unless you have that on it. If you have the search on it, you may look at all the cards in a stack and put them back down the same way that you found them. If you use protect, you can put that on a stack of cards and a player may not come and steal from you there. Hide will allow you to place sacred items face down. They are still able to be targeted by the opponent, but they won't know what they're getting necessarily. So, and any additional cards you tuck underneath of this will be face up. So keep that in mind whenever you're placing those cards down. If you have nothing you really want to play, you could simply discard a card from your hand to the discard pile as an action. And then the final action that they talk about, which is opening levels, that's something for the advanced play. We're not going to talk about that in our review. But there's a few different variants of the game to make the game a little more difficult. And then that is your second building phase. You have 3 of those actions that you can choose from. In the final phase, it's pretty simple. You either draw up or discard down to 7 cards. That is your hand size. You'll play the game until one player has built all 9 of their lower layers in their pyramid and then have placed their capstone, which is required to have the full pyramid below it. And then you'll go into scoring, and we'll talk a little more about scoring later.
So that is pretty much the game. It is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm a big history buff. Have my bachelor's in history, and I really enjoy learning about like ancient Egypt, the ancient civilizations in general. But I enjoy seeing like this take on bringing the Egyptian culture to life. It talks about like the hieroglyphics. Like it actually used the hieroglyphics of the 0, the 1, and the 2 on the die. On the backs of the cards, like even the artwork have the hieroglyphics on it that you can't see because I changed the camera angle. But I enjoyed that aspect of it. Even the score tracker looks really cool because it's actually the Book of the Dead, but dead's crossed out for scores, and you go up and down the track depending upon your points. The sacred items have point values of them like 1, 2, 3, and I think 5. And then the gods, depending on if they are for what you have in your pyramid versus if they are against what you have, you can get positive points or negative points. And some gods can give you both positive points. Some can give you a positive and a negative based on the other gods that are present in your pyramid. I was trying to find Ra earlier, but I couldn't find him because I shuffled him into the deck.
I'll just pick one.
But like Nekabet, sorry if I say the name wrong, but he gives a -4 points. Oh, she gives a -4 points, I'm sorry. As the goddess of vultures, Nekabet preys on the dead and dying. She is already circling you. She gives you a -4. However, she gives you a +3, also known as the healthy eye of Horus. If discovered in the same pyramid as him, Nekabet aids his fight to avenge his father's death. So, in your pyramid, if you have Horus, she'll give you +3 points. So it kind of balances out. You'll still end up with a -1 point at the end of it, but she at least tries to tweak her negative advantage against you. Also on the cards, the red border ones are the gods, so you can tell the difference. The negative ones will have like a red circle or like a red circle around like the down here, versus like a solid circle for the positives and whatnot. The action cards that you can play that I completely lost wherever they went, like the search, the steal, the pyramid one, have a green border, so you kind of know that those are action cards that you can play to your advantage. The sacred items have like a bluish, purplish hint border around them, so you know that those are the sacred items that you're trying to collect. It comes with a reference of the different sacred items, so you know which ones you could potentially be missing, because after like 6 of them, you're like, okay, which ones am I missing out of the 9? But I really enjoy it. The cards have great material. They feel great. They don't have much give to them, so you know that they're pretty sturdy. Even the die is wooden. Another nice thing with this game is
very eco-friendly.
yes, eco-friendly. There's no plastic in it whatsoever. Even the cards, like, you know when you get board game boxes and you have decks of cards in them, they're wrapped up in plastic. These weren't. They had a paper band around them, and that was it. The tokens are cardboard. They popped easily out of the little cardboard pieces. Die is wooden, so no plastic whatsoever. It's really nice. Another perk is the company that made this game is also donating their proceeds and things to a cancer hospital in the UK. Cancer research is very important to me, as I lost my mother to cancer 20 years ago. That was a nice selling point for me of taking a look at this game of, wow, they're supporting an amazing charity while creating a game. Like, that drew me in. Plus the theme of it really tugged at me because I love history.
Yeah, and honestly, the only, like, I agree with her. We really, really enjoyed the gameplay. The only thing that happened in our playthroughs of the game that I didn't love, but it's not a major downfall, is the fact that we got to the last rounds and we were just basically stealing from each other because the deck had been cleared out of all the sacred items. She had a couple items I needed. I had a couple items she needed. So we basically were just doing basically constant pyramid stealing. So at that point, it comes down to a little bit of luck more than anything because you have to roll the die. But honestly, we had a good, like, 20 minutes of play before we hit that kind of like 5-minute stalemate. So it wasn't bad at all. And honestly, I think it's going to come down to just how the cards come out. I don't think that that's going to be the case with all games, but that was just something we observed in our game. But other than that, yeah, really, really fun game.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. And we'll be doing a playthrough of the game. So if this at all interests you, we'll be having that playthrough video so you can actually see the game in action. It is for 2 players, but there's also a solo mode in it as well. So be sure to check that out. Yeah. Anything else?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Brian. And we're the WV Gamers.